Well, Chief, the new season starts. Once again, the Phoenix have been written off by everyone. Some people in Australia tipping you for the wooden spoon. Do you use that as motivation? And what do you make of the fact that people are writing this Phoenix team off?
I spoke to Piney about this last week. For me, the fact that I must be missing something, because they must have knowledge that I don't have to make big calls like that. For me, finishing last is something that will fuel all the players. They'll see that. I wouldn't say offensive towards us, but I would say it's very disrespectful, especially with the quality that we have in the squad with the foreigners and also the good young players coming through who have played a lot of international games at youth level.
Yeah. Would you say it's classic Australian journalism?
It could be. I don't want to go against the anti-Knicks theme, but I feel like, look, it's easy to point us out because we probably haven't brought in new signings, senior signings, but at the same time we've got a lot of quality in the squad. There's a lot of good young players. There's a good feel in the group, and I think the fans will be excited once they see us play.
Do you think people will be surprised by the quality of the young players? Do you see that as these kids are good enough where other people are just saying, okay, you're just promoting an academy player, you haven't strengthened? Do you think people will be surprised at what these kids can do?
Of course. They're not being promoted just for the sake of being promoted. For me and the club, we've spent many hours and had many discussions on, one, who the right fit is and whether they have that quality, and this was all discussed when I took the job. For me, we plan meticulously, and when we promote a player, we feel, does he have the capabilities of sustaining long performances at a good level, and usually playing at international level, that gives you a good gauge of where they're at, and we assess that. We also spend a lot of time watching them at training, assessing them in the academy, and just watching old games. It's not like a quick fix solution. We actually, we're very process driven in that respect.
The gold standard, that's one of the name I see you related to your work as a youth team coach at Sydney FC is Marco Tilio.
Yes.
The best products you've developed. Is it fair to compare some of these kids to that level quality, or do we need the time to see how they find their way, or give us a shake on your read on where these kids are at? Yeah,
I never say I develop players. I just aid them in in their journey. It would be unfair to say that I myself was the person that did that. There was a lot of good coaches that he was exposed to before and after me as well. So it's more about giving the opportunity to those players. For me, I wouldn't say that we have a player like Marco Tilio, because Marco Tilio is unique in his own right, but we have players like Lucas Kelly-Hild, Finn Sermon, that have their own attributes and qualities which will stand out. For me, the most important thing when it comes to young players is actually giving that opportunity, and there are going to be times in the season this year where we're going to be tested. Things might not go our way, and that's whether I have enough, belief in them to keep them playing, and that's what I feel like I'm strong at.
I was just going to say, one of the players who might get an opportunity who's been in the team for a couple of seasons is Alex Paulson. He has big gloves to fill with all these sale gone. Are you confident that he's sort of ready to go if he does start at first?
I'm confident in both goalkeepers. Alex is an exciting young prospect, really good with his feet, confident, and really good within the group, and the same as Jack. Jack's been doing excellent. He's developed really well in the last 2 months. We feel like we've developed him to a point where we're confident that he can fit in our system as well. So there's really healthy competition between the two, and whoever starts will do a good job for us.
Have you made a call on who will start, or do you want to give them the opportunity to?
Usually, what time's the game? 3? Yeah, I'll make the call around 1. Yeah.
Do they know before 1?
They'll know before 1. Yeah, they should have a fair idea of who's starting. So
okay, and is it, once he's in there, is it his to lose, or is it rotate them? Because it does seem like it's a fairly even fight for that position.
I'm not a big believer in rotating goalkeepers. I think once you establish who the number 1 is, they'll stay number 1 until either the person behind makes a better claim, or the number 1 may be struggling or doesn't find his feet well. And that's something that hopefully I don't have to make a decision on. I'm kind of hoping we make the right decision for the first game, and then that goalkeeper just takes that opportunity. But at the same time, like I said, either keeper is ready to start.
Did you have much off-season interest in Oscar Zawada?
There was interest. A lot of, I would say, interest from Europe. There was some interest from Asia. For me, it'd be unreasonable to think that someone who was the second goal scorer in the A-League, the leading goal scorer in open play, doesn't have any interest, especially with all the movement with players, these younger players moving abroad. For me, it's a no-brainer that he does have that interest. It's just whether or not the club felt it was the right sort of offer, that match, and whether Oscar felt it was the right opportunity for him to go.
So it didn't come to particular offers? He wasn't considering leaving or anything like that?
I think up until the transfer window, he was still very open to a possible move, but he's committed now to staying with us and hopefully, putting back-to-back seasons as one of the leading goal scorers.
Because for all the talk about the youngsters, you've got, if not the best striker in the league right here, and he was setting games on fire last year. Yeah,
100%, and that's why I feel it's a little bit disrespectful for people to think that we're going to finish last with one of the best strikers in the league. And you look at Costa as well, you look at Borley, Bojida, who's coming through. These are really good experienced players, Scotty Wooden as well. We've got experience and we've got good firepower, so I think if we can put it all together and be consistent in what we're doing and believe in what we're trying to play, I think the results will come.
On the youngsters, one more from me. You said you weren't surprised about the shift to giving young players a bit of a go this season. Were some of those senior players, did it take them by surprise? The ones potentially that came in last year, thinking you were going to be, bulking out of the squad, and now it seems like you're focusing on youth first.
I don't think it's a surprise. I think I made it quite aware to the players from very early on what the strategy was, and it's been a long pre-season, so it's been 2.5 months where a lot of these young boys have been in our environment for a significant time, and now it's almost like they're part of the furniture. So that shock, or if you're surprised, if you want to call it, they're used to it now. And I think they've embraced the young boys. They lead them, on and off the park, and they're really guiding them to try to make that next step.
Any injuries for the first game? Where was guys like Sam Sutton, or is anyone who's...
Sutts is out, unfortunately. I'm still having issues with his injury. So that's a week-to-week sort of proposition. So we're hoping that early next week that he'll be back on feet, striking the ball and full training. He has been part of the training sessions, but more straight line running and more making sure that he doesn't have any reoccurrences. But apart from that, I think we do have a couple of niggles at the moment with Luke Supek. We're not sure if he's going to travel. Borley at the moment is also under a cloud. That only happened yesterday. So apart from that, so Borley's injury, he has an issue with his hip at the moment. He copped a knock in the game last week against Victory, and it seemed to flare up yesterday at training. So he's away for scans, and then we'll make a call this afternoon whether he travels or not.
And Luke?
Luke had an issue with his calf. He felt a pinch last week. He played minutes against Victory, but then he complained during the week that it felt a little bit sore. So we're just monitoring at the moment and trying to work out whether or not it's a risk if we take him on the weekend, and whether he can give us any game time. If we feel like it's a risk, we'll save his legs and then bring him in for the week after.
How do you feel replacing Ufuk? Obviously you worked with him for 4 seasons. Yeah, is there pressure stepping into his shoes, or how do you feel going from assistant to coach?
I feel it's been quite comfortable, to be fair. I've mentioned before that one of the good things with the relationship with Ufi was that he allowed me to be part of the process of day-to-day operations as a coach. Not saying that I made the decisions, but I was there. I listened to his process, and he always gauged my advice. Whether he took it or not was another thing, but and in that sense, I feel as though if a new coach had come in and didn't understand the terrain and the landscape of the club, I think they would have found it very difficult from day one, maybe overwhelming. But I feel like even though we've had our difficulties and our issues this year, I feel like it hasn't burdened me or created too much pressure. The pressure I create for myself is making sure the team plays in a particular style and we play in a really good way. That's the only pressure I put on myself and on the team. So in that respect, it's been challenging. I quite enjoy it, to be fair. I could have done the easy thing and just continued what Uffy did previously, but I wouldn't be my own coach. So I've changed a lot of things, and I feel like it's been positive so far.
And much to do with Roods?
No, not really. I just know of him. I've met him at games before, so yeah.
Any words of advice from Ufuk in the week leading up to the game, or have you heard from him since he's departed? Or?
Sorry, could you ask that again? Sorry.
Yeah, so has Ufuk given you any words of advice ahead of the first game, or have you heard from him since he's...
We speak regularly. He won't give me advice. If I ask him, he'll give me advice, and he's very, he understands as well. In this game, it's only the head coaches that experience pressure understand what really happens. And a lot of the time, you don't want advice because you're getting it from a lot of people that shouldn't give you advice. It's more about just having an outlet to express yourself and vent things maybe that no one else understands. And I think that's probably the best advice I get from him. Like I said, I've learned so much of him over the last 4 years that his advice is already embedded in the way I think.
Will he be in the stands, maybe beanie, black glasses, keeping a distance?
But no. Black glasses and a white beard maybe. But I think he might be back from the UK because he was with the Socceroos. And I think he'll be close to the stadium, so he might be in there watching, which will be good.